largely, it's been a very strange week highlighting the importance, I think, of what we consider to be the last sort of large geospatial exploration problem left actually on Earth. And that is to understand the actual ocean and particularly the seafloor itself and what needs to be done. You already got my intro. That is me, maritime plus technology, put them in the same room, try and solve exceptionally hard problems with ridiculously smart people. The ocean itself is fundamentally underutilized by all of us. We fish right now in it. We move things around on it. We are now starting to build critical infrastructure in and around it. And this is where things get particularly interesting. So there's billions of dollars that have already been spent right now. Right now, the main focus is on telecom, a lot of gas pipelines, but offshore wind is really changing the game here. Toward the future, we're looking at putting data centers near these ridiculously large wind farms because it's most efficient to then run cables back to metropolitan areas. Carbon sequestration and storage can be done at megaton scale in the ocean. The ocean is already one of the largest carbon sinks in the world. And largely, most of the population lives around the ocean, and so it is one of the most, I think, promising renewable energy sources that will probably continue to exist. The huge problem, of course, is that we don't know a damn thing about the seafloor. They say about 24% of it is mapped right now, but that's at 100-meter resolution. So that is, you can't see very much. You wouldn't even see this room at 100-meter resolution, let alone if there was some large sand dune, a bomb that had been left there from a previous war. Yes, there are lots of bombs on the seafloor, particularly on the continental shelves where we're building all this stuff. And then on top of all of that, there's currents and major weather events that are getting worse, which are moving the seafloor, posing fundamental threats and problems to all of these different projects. The way that we do this work now is with ships. As was previously said, I worked in global shipping, and I can tell you it is inefficient, it is very dangerous, there is human risk, there is capital risk, there's timeline risk, there are all sorts of risks about doing it this way. We have been doing it like this since 1950. It is really not fundamentally changed. We took a very different approach, which is we believe that there needs to be scalable ways to ultimately move sonars around the ocean floor, ultimately collecting higher quality data at fundamentally better operational and economic efficiencies per square kilometer than any other system. To do that, you have to go back and really think through the planetary global exploration problem and then work your way back to how you just solve these sort of spot problems that the world has today. And then let's assume that you can somehow figure out how to build a bunch of those, like thousands of those. Now you have a petabyte or exabit scale geospatial data problem that is 3 times the size of any land-based geospatial data problem. And the unfortunate part is that all of the software and data workflows that live around seafloor data are all built on desktop softwares because they have to run on ships not connected to the internet. Now, fundamentally, Starlink is changing that, which is awesome. But unfortunately, there's literally no infrastructure. So we had to build all that too. And you put all these things together, and what that means is not only do you get permitting advantages because you can use smaller sonars that are less powerful, that don't harm marine mammals, and so governments and activists are very, very excited about that. You get to deploy much quicker. You can deploy anywhere overnight. You can ship those things anywhere in the world. Logistics on land and logistics in the sea matter a lot toward your bottom line when you don't know how many customers you're ultimately going to have. This is sort of what it looks like how much faster you can actually get data into the hands of people that make decisions. This is actual data collected from our submarines, and it way outperformed what we thought. So anybody that's done anything in robotics and hardware knows that the first couple outcomes are usually catastrophic and terrible. This was not what we expected. You can see objects that are less than 0.5 meters by 0.5 meters, and it's just really great. Let's see. That's the robot. And those are the kind of people that help build the robot. And we have 2 of them, and my CTO was having a bad day and painted one of them pink. So for those that have CTOs, they will understand that, I think. We are trying to scale this as fast as humanly possible. We are on track to build our own commercial fleet. We have built our own production facility. We have 3 offices in California. This looks a little bit like a mad science lab, plus maybe something you've seen in a very small aerospace company. And so it's that. There's actually a pressure tube, which is that giant gray thing in the corner there. So we take all of our vehicles to depth ahead of time so that when they actually go to depth, they are not seeing depth for the first time out in the ocean. So hopefully we don't lose too many of them, but that is a very real concern. Very other interesting part of our business is we're a public benefit corporation. That is fundamentally, I think, built into the DNA and fabric of the data sets that we are collecting and why we think this is something that is important for the world. We think it's sort of this intersection of what the government should or do or needs, what general researchers also need, and the public. We don't really know what's going to happen when that becomes possible. And then, of course, industry and commercial needs are sort of driving this forward, particularly in offshore wind. We think this is sort of where public benefit really should lie. And then the question becomes, well, why the hell would you do that? It sounds anti-capitalistic. That's not the case at all. I think it's imperative right now for us all to be moving the collective human knowledge forward. And so even letting some of this, even if it's a downsampled version of what you may be seeing, is good for science. It advances the collective human knowledge, and that generally makes people want to know even more, which drives further business back to us to collect high-resolution, high-quality data sets. And it's just the right thing, given where we are in the world right now. Like, we need dramatic action a lot faster. Bedrock is taking a little bit of a different approach, so we are deploying our own vehicles. We own that data, and then we are licensing that data back out because we can deploy much earlier than most other surveyors right now, so they got to get the benefit. We're going to try and give that a go, and that's terrifying. And yeah, we're gearing up at the moment. Bigger questions around why this matters, like the UK is building a completely redundant grid system around the entirety of the island in the ocean, just to give you a sense of how they're solving their grid problems. We are looking at one of the largest energy shifts or transformations probably ever since nuclear first came around, and that is happening at first at gigawatt plus scale right now in the ocean at rates that we've never seen before. There is an abundant amount of resources, and we don't have to get into that, but there's a lot of controversy over how we're going to do that and why it's important. And the ocean is unrelenting, exceptionally hard, and is going to be the source of lots of problems in the future. And so the more we understand it, the more likely we are to use the benefits of the ocean to hopefully sort of stabilize what's going on the planet here. That is it. The ocean is our future. The future is now. Thank you all so much. Have a great night.